So again, thanks everyone for your time today here to join this Oracle session. This is also my pleasure to have this opportunity to share with you some of the Oracle Cloud infrastructure insight here. Okay, so as of today, the topic I will share with you about the managing public, private, and the hybrid cloud, and how easy you can achieve the flexibility with the Oracle solution. So again, my name is Yuka. Okay, so currently I'm the senior manager from the Oracle Cloud Engineering team based in Singapore, but I always support the customer in Philippines and the Southeast Asia region. Okay, so maybe let me just start with share with you some of the overview of the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. What is this about, right? So over the last 10 years, we always hear about the customer have the cloud first strategy. So this is where the first generation cloud has been evolved in the market. It's always gives us a lot of good benefit, okay? Because the design for the first generation cloud is very focusing on the elasticity, self-service, scalability, and how easy it can be used. It's a fully paid subscription model, right? So, but if you look at the involved, okay, how this first generation cloud involved is, most of the time is from the very successful e-commerce system, okay, or some of the live streaming system, which require a very, require the scale out capabilities. Okay, so sometimes we call all this application as a web scaling application. And all this is really very right fit into the first generation cloud. But if you look at each of the organization today, okay, they definitely will have some cloud native or even the web scaling application. But at the same time, they also have different type of the enterprise application. Okay, so just give you some of the example. What does this mean about the enterprise application? It could be your ERP, your financial application, your CRM, your HR, or if you're coming from different industry, for banking, you definitely have like core banking, your cash management, card management, and so on and so forth. For manufacturing, it could be your MES, the production line system. Different industry will have different core application. But all these have some common characteristic. Why we classify this as an enterprise application? Because it always require a very fast performance, higher availabilities. Okay, downtime definitely is a no to all these enterprise application. And of course, how easy it can scale up as well, right? So this is the features, the characteristic that is still required for the enterprise application. Now, the question is, can the first generation cloud deploy, can all these enterprise application deploy on the first generation cloud? The answer could be yes and no, right? Yes, it's true. You really can deploy the enterprise application to the first generation cloud. Okay. However, most of the time, you still need to do some redesign or even re-architect before you really can adopt the first generation cloud. Okay, especially you want to transform into the microservices deployment architecture. Right? It's not the strict away, lift and shift approach. Right? So yes, you still can deploy on the first generation cloud. But why we still saying no, right? So even though you are successfully to deploy the enterprise application to the first generation cloud, you may not be able to see the benefit in terms of the performance, in terms of the availabilities, and even the security, right? So again, this is the very important element for the enterprise application. So when the Oracle start to design and plan for our Oracle Cloud infrastructure at the beginning, we are taking all these critical elements into our design principle. We would like to deliver a superior performance, the best cloud economics, the enterprise security in terms of also the availabilities as well. And last but not least, how we can help to support the entire open ecosystem, whether it's from the open sources or from other key player in the market, from the business partner, ISV as well. Okay. So this is where we are starting from the design in our Oracle Cloud infrastructure, or in short, we call it as an OCI. Okay. So our OCI is designed to support all kinds of the workload, including the enterprise application. It's also including all the web scaling, cloud native application. Right? So it's an all-rounded workload that can be deployed on the Oracle Cloud as well. We are focusing again from the performance, security, and also how we can support your hybrid cloud strategy or the multi-cloud strategy as well. So all this I will come into the details later on. So another features that we have been putting in from the design point of view is the autonomous services. This is really related to how you can manage your public cloud infrastructure, how we can simplify, minimize a lot of human labor, or even the human error as well. So cloud native ecosystem, and of course, how easy you can migrate to the migrate your enterprise application to Oracle Cloud. We definitely have some value add here that can achieve all this functionality. So today, if you look at the complete Oracle Cloud capabilities, we have been rolling out all these services more than 30 cloud regions around the world. We are starting from the very robust core infrastructure. This is where our IaaS platform sitting in. So all form of the compute, whether it's a virtual machine, or if you really like to have a dedicated bare metal compute resources, Oracle is actually the first vendor release these options. Same time, container, which is more for you to deploy your cloud native application. We are supporting different type of the OS platform. We also have a partnership with the VMware, where we can support the hybrid cloud deployment. Right? All this is forming up our core infrastructure. So once you have your core infrastructure set properly, then we can look into the second layer. So most of the time, it comes from the data first. Data is really a core asset for each of the organization. Every application, every system is related to the data. And data also can help you to have your data-driven decision as well. So that's why Oracle is putting in the bread and butter, our database engine on the cloud as well. And this is not just as simple as the traditional Oracle database. This is not just about the relational data management anymore. We are supporting different type of the format, different format of the data sources, because nowadays different application is actually require different data format. We have the document database or the JSON. We also support different type of the cache data management system. And even we are talking about the Hadoop, MySQL, Postgres database. All these open sources, right, is today is fully branded into the Oracle Cloud data management as well. Once you have the data ready, then you can start to look into how you can consume the data, how your data can be branded into your application. So your application could be a just transactional application. It also could be an analytics or the reporting or machine learning platform. Right? So we have all flavor of the AI machine learning solution here, and together with our analytics. So in addition of all these features which allow you to deploy the enterprise application, again, we also can support the cloud native or the web scaling workload. Right? So we have a full suite of the developer services, which also allow you to develop your low-code application, which means you don't really need to have a very hands-on developer, but you still can make use of these features to develop a web application or your mobile application, or the CI/CD, app dev. And even though when you're talking about the cloud automation, we definitely need to incorporate with the infrastructure as code, how we can simplify, streamline, and automate the entire cloud operation. And of course, another very important component is about the governance and administration. Right? And we're talking about the cloud compliance, cloud security, and how we can help you to monitor the usage, monitor your performance, or even to manage different tier of your application in the cloud platform. So we have all this functionality available today as well. So if you look at the entire diagram here, we do provide a very complete capabilities in the Oracle Cloud. And some of the value add services that we have been introduced to our customer as well. Okay. So when the customer evaluate the cloud selection, capabilities, function, or features definitely becomes a significant role. But at the same time, they will also look into what are the other value add. It could be from the commercial perspective. It also could be from the operation perspective, how easy they can operate the cloud deployment. So when you're looking about the look into the investment, Oracle actually providing a very simple, very transparent pricing model. We introduced a concept called the universal credit, where you are just need to have a single cloud wallet, okay? But you are entitled to use any of the Oracle Cloud services at the same time. Okay? Be it is the platform as a service or just like infrastructure as a service. You can utilize all these services from the single wallet. And of course, you can bring your license, or the Oracle license, whether it's a database, middleware, or any other Oracle software license into the Oracle Cloud easily. Okay, so you can bring your license to the infrastructure as a service, okay, which is every cloud service provider also allow you to do so. But Oracle is also allow you to bring all this license into our platform as a service as well. This allow you to modernize your application easily. And as I mentioned, our design principle, we incorporate all the performance, security, availability into the foundation. So when you want to move all the enterprise application to the OCI, there's no need to redesign or re-architect your application. You can simply just move as it is to the Oracle Cloud. And Oracle Cloud is also the only vendor, okay, who are offering the SLA, covering the performance, availabilities, and the manageability at the same time. We are offering the SLA from these three categories. Okay, so it's not only about the uptime availabilities anymore. We're also talking about the performance. Because we always want to give the commitment to our customer. We are talking about the best performance is not just on the paper. When you use it, when you adopt to the Oracle Cloud, you definitely will be able to experience this. That's why we are introducing SLA here. Okay. And for those customers who are just try or it's new to the Oracle Cloud, Oracle is providing our migration services for the pilot project as well. This is where the Oracle Cloud Lift service comes into the picture. We are providing the enablement to our customer to assist them design the deployment architecture. And this architecture is just not as simple as how we can deploy the VM or the database, but also we are talking about the security or the network access control. Okay, what would be the best practice to move your enterprise application, adopt it on the Oracle Cloud? So all this is part of the Cloud Lift services scope as well. So we will help you, assist you from the design, migration, until your pilot project go live. And if today you are using the Oracle software as an on-premise solution, there's additional benefit that we would like to reward to you. Right? So we have this Oracle Support Reward program, where for every dollar that you're spending on the Oracle Cloud, you'll be entitled to get 25 cents back to your support contract here. Okay, so this is all the value-add services that we would like to introduce to all the customers who are interested to move their workload to the Oracle Cloud. So let me share with you one of the successful story. Okay, so we have all the capabilities, we have all this value-added service. Definitely, we have some very successful customer who already moved their application workload to OCI. So 7-Eleven, I think, is not a strange name to all of you. Okay. Today, 7-Eleven in Philippines is already have more than 3,000 stores or outlets across the country. Right? So they've been moving their e-business suite, the financial application, to OCI 3 years ago. Right? So they have been happily using this OCI because we are able to give them the very good database performance. We are helping them to modernize the database infrastructure from just an infrastructure to a platform as a service. It's allowed them to automate several daily database administration job from the backup, provisioning, and patching, and so on and so forth. And this is how they are enjoying the Oracle Cloud today. Okay. So let's move to another topic. So you can see that the enterprise application is definitely one of the workload that we can move to the OCI. How about the other? Cloud native web scaling application. What is the Oracle stand in this area? So if you look at the slide here, we are actually supporting a very wide, very big open source ecosystem. Right? So all the Oracle Cloud services is also is cloud native enabled. If you look at the different category from the automation point of view, right? We have a different type of the API, CLI, or even we are supporting the Terraform. we are supporting the Ansible that allow you to have the cloud automation, okay, the cloud operation. From the databases, as mentioned, it's just not only about the Oracle database today, we are also support any type of the data sources. We provided our MySQL, which is an open sources platform. We also have our Oracle Autonomous Database in the market today. Machine learning, streaming from the Kafka capable services, compatible services, all this is fully supported on different type of the open source. Okay? So there's a lot of different services that allow you easily to deploy the cloud native application. We also have the Kubernetes support you to deploy the container services on Oracle Cloud. So since we are talking about the autonomous services, so what is this about? Why we have these features and why this is important to every single of the customer who are interested to deploy their workload to cloud. So autonomous means we are trying to minimize a lot of administration overhead from your administrator, from your system admin, from your operation team, because nowadays you definitely have many systems to manage, to monitor. Okay, so starting from the provisioning and also the configuration. So configuration means Oracle know very well how we can deploy our software with the best practice, right? So we can automatically to help you to preset the best configuration. From the security, all the data that you put into the Oracle Cloud Platform is automatically encrypted. You even don't need to worry what are the algorithms that you need to consider to encrypt and decrypt the data. Data is encrypted by default. Patching, update, this is also one of the key areas that we'd like to help our customers, particularly on the database platform. Because every time you want to patch your software, you can upgrade your software. It's not just a 1-2 hour job, right? The entire patching process maybe just really take 1 or 2 hours. But if you look at the best practice, what we need to do is, before the patching, we definitely need to test it. We need to plan for it, right? Test your upgraded version with your application, with all the functionality and the performance. Make sure that it still works as expected. You need to have deployed this in your development SIT environments, then only roll out to your production. It's really a very long and time-consuming process. But with the automation here, we are actually helping you to patch and upgrade your system automatically. If something touch wood is really go wrong, we will also roll back automatically for you. So this is how we can help you to minimize a lot of human labor. And the elastic scaling, we also can make it to be automatic as well, meaning this is a full auto scaling capabilities. Based on the demand, based on the workload that the user is utilizing, the platform are able to auto scale automatically. And the tuning, this is also a very interesting topic. How we can tune your system automatically. And Oracle is the first vendor introduced a concept called the auto indexing for the database that allow you just move your data to the autonomous database and leave it there. The platform will build all the necessary index for you. Compared to the traditional way where you still have a DBA, work together with your developer, work together with your application administrator. What are the best practices to tune your environment? A lot of discussion, try and error is required whenever we are talking about the performance tuning. And now Oracle is rolling out all these services as part of the autonomous services, and this is available in all these autonomous database here. We have the autonomous database, which is for your data analytics workload. We call it as the autonomous data warehouse. We also have our autonomous transaction processing for your OLTP application, which you need a very fast performance in terms of the transaction. And we also have a JSON database, document database that is today becomes autonomous as well. So this is just a started. More and more autonomous services will be introduced into the Oracle Cloud Platform later. Okay, another customer reference. Right? So Baguio City. Personally, I'm based in Singapore. I've never been to Baguio City, but I go Google and search about this city. This is really a very nice, very beautiful place, a lot of nice scenery. And I told myself, when the border is open, Baguio City definitely will be one of my travel destinations that I would like to pay a visit. So Baguio City actually is also a very popular place that a lot of tourists would like to visit in the past, especially before the pandemic comes to our life, right? So now, in order to net the domestic traveler to continue to travel in the Baguio, the Baguio City has launched a program called the Visitor Program, where they can help to track all the tourists. Okay? They know where they are staying, they know when they are going to the Baguio City, when they are going to living. And this is help to not only to track, to trace the tourists around, but also to protect the citizen, the people who are staying into the Baguio City as well. Okay? Because pandemic, as of now, we still have a lot of unknown. We definitely want to get through all this difficulty. Right? So that's why Baguio City has been developing this visitor online registration program, where all the domestic tourists who would like to pay a visit to Baguio, before that, they have to go online and register their trip and the itinerary. Okay. So when we deploy this visitor program, this is a fully cloud-native application. They are not running on the Oracle WebLogic. They are also not running on the Oracle database. They're running on a lot of different types of open sources because they also cannot estimate the demand. Okay. How many tourists will be going to the system do the registration, right? So the demand is a little bit hard to predict. So this is a form of cloud-native application. When the demand is increased, they can easily to deploy another image on the Kubernetes container. So they allow them to scale up as easily. Okay. At the same time, from the feedback for the IT department, you can see that we are delivering the enterprise-grade performance for this cloud-native application. The platform allows them easily to scale up, scale out, and also allow them to integrate with any other existing system. Okay. And they're able to deploy and to go live within just 1 week. Okay. So this is another successful reference that we are helping our customer in Philippines. Okay. And Oracle Cloud is very aggressively to expand our region footprint. Okay. So today we already have 34 cloud regions around the world. 2 weeks later, 2 weeks before, we just launched our Singapore region. This is one of the latest region in the Asia Pacific. And now all the Philippine customers, you have a choice to deploy your workload into Singapore region, which is one of the closest region in terms of the distance, in terms of the latency. That's for all the Philippine customers. And why we say that Oracle is very aggressive. If you look at our planning, in the next 12 months, we are actually planning to roll out another 10 cloud region. So by the end of 2022, we are planning to have at least 44 cloud regions in the whole world. Okay. So this is how we are doing. And we also have certain regions where we have been established at Azure Interconnect. So this is really to help us to explain our multi-cloud strategy with the partnership with Microsoft. So I will come into that later to share with you a little bit detail what is this interconnect about. And Oracle Cloud, as mentioned, this is not just pure public cloud offering. We are fully support the hybrid cloud, multi-cloud strategy. Just now, we are sharing with you all the capabilities, functionality on the public cloud. Okay, so this is where it comes into the most left corner here, the Oracle Cloud public region. Everything is a public cloud services by subscription, managed by Oracle. When we also have another deployment option, which allow the customer to invest and deploy the Oracle public cloud services in your own data center. This is what we call the cloud at customer. So today we have the dedicated region and the Exadata cloud at customer in this flavor. And we also have a very strong partnership with the VMware to allow you to have a hybrid cloud strategy with the Microsoft Interconnect, as I mentioned earlier. So all this has been available today. And share with you a little bit more about the cloud at customer deployment. As mentioned, This is the deployment model where we allow you to deploy all the available public cloud services from OCI in your data center. But the way that we operate it is not like how you operate as the on-premise or the private cloud. This is still fully managed by Oracle, deployed, set up by Oracle, and you are still paying as a subscription. Okay, so it's really a public cloud in your data center. So if you are interested, maybe for example, just focusing on the Oracle database workload, because of some of the reason, for example, your regulation, compliance, or your latency concern, you would like to keep your critical data in your data center, but you really appreciate all the public cloud functionality. Then this is where the Exadata Cloud Customer can help you and adjust all this challenge. Okay. So this is about the Cloud Customer deployment. As mentioned, we also have the VMware Cloud Services today that allow you to easily to move the VMware workload from your existing on-premise deployment to OCI. Or you may just want to extend, okay, your existing workload, VMware workload. Maybe you want to extend as a DR. You want to have a DR solution on the public cloud. But the easiest way is just to keep your existing VMware investment, your skill sets, right? That is how we can help you to achieve with this Oracle Cloud VMware solution. And this is a verified solution by VMware as well. It's not just Oracle getting the VMware license deployed on the OCI. We are really adopting the best VMware deployment practice on the OCI. And at the same time, other benefit for you to do so is you also can modernize your infrastructure and the application. Why? Sometimes you may just deploy some of the open sources on the VMware virtual machine, right? It's just like IaaS or just a infra plus the open sources. And if you still remember the second slide I shared with you, Oracle today has a full capabilities from the platform as a service as well. This is where it can help you to drive more digital transformation project to create more innovative initiative as well. Okay, make use of that machine learning, analytics, DevOps, all these capabilities already available on Oracle Cloud. So in other words, you can easily to extend your VMware workload into all of the OCI platform as a service. So this is how we can make use of the VMware Cloud services. Microsoft Azure Interconnect. Okay, so what is this about? We do see a lot of requests, okay, where the customer today, they have different type of the workload. Some of the workload, they has been deployed in Microsoft Azure, right? But at the same time, they also have some mission critical or enterprise application where they would like to deploy on Oracle Cloud. Okay, because as I mentioned, the design of OCI is for you to deploy the enterprise application as well, right? So in this scenario is you have a workload across different cloud service provider. And most of the time, between the application, you may need to have the data integration. You may need to have an application integration. And all this integration require a very low latency, right? So this is where we have been partnership with Microsoft to establish this interconnect between Oracle Cloud and Azure. Okay. So this is allow you to have your application deployment on Azure, but your mission critical database can be deployed on Oracle Cloud as well. Okay, so this has been established a very strong multi-cloud strategy. Okay, so now we have a solution on the public cloud, Cloud Customer, hybrid cloud, and multi-cloud as well. But sometimes at the same time, a lot of customer is also finding other challenge. Right? So it's about how we can manage all this platform. Right? Definitely, each of the organization today, you will have some monitoring or management solution to manage your infra application database or your cloud deployment. Okay, but do you really have a holistic platform that allow you to have a single view of all these environments? If you look at the Gartner research, only less than 50% of the customer today are able to achieve it. Right? And another number that we have been reflecting here is 75% of the organization believe that their IT environments, their system will be getting more and more compressed in the future. So all these are the current challenge that for most of the organization is facing. And definitely they need to have a solution to adjust all this. Okay. This is where Oracle has been rolled out our observability and the management platform, allow you to have a single view, monitor and manage all the different tier of the application. It allows you to monitor and manage vertically across multiple tiers, from your infrastructure, database tier, application tier, vertically. But at the same time, we also allow you to have the visibility horizontally, where regardless where your application is deployed on the Oracle Cloud, other cloud service provider, or this is a private cloud or on-premise deployment. Horizontally, we also can capture all the log and help you to monitor. Right? So this is really a holistic single view management monitoring platform. Okay, we do have a short name for them. Okay, O&M. Okay, so this is really help us to how to call this platform. It's an Oracle O&M platform that allow you to have all the monitoring capability. Okay, so when we are talking monitoring capability, it's not just about the logging or the audit information, but we also include from the application performance, database performance, and when we gather all the log, whether from the error log, your transaction log, how we can help you to analyze all the log information. Okay. So for the entire O&M platform, we provide the monitoring, logging, log analytics, APM, database management, and operations insight across different environments. And log analytics is one of the features I would like to highlight to you today here. Okay, so when you look at the log, there is always giving the administrator a lot of challenge. It's always very hectic to review, to look into the information from all the logging data, right? It's not only about the logging file could be very big, but it's also because there's many platforms, many systems. The system every single minute, every single second is generating some forms of the logging information. This is no way for just like a human being to walk through or read through all this information. That's why you need to have a platform that provide enough intelligence and capabilities to help you to determine, is there any issue in advance? This is what we call as a proactive monitoring. We would like to identify the issue much advanced before this really happens. Right? So this is where the Oracle logging analytics is helping you to do. Okay? So we do provide the platform to collect all the data. We have them of the built-in connector or the plugin that allow you to crawl all this logging information from different systems. It could be an Oracle platform. It also could be a non-Oracle platform. We have all this out-of-the-box connector available. Once the data is able to crawl and put into the platform, we would like to do some forms of the parsing. Okay? Because different system, the logging format, the structure definitely will be different. We need to pass the information to all this info will be more easy for the platform to analyze, to generate some of the insights for you. So we go through the parsing, and at the same time, we are building some of the machine learning capabilities to help you to do the linkage, to link the information together. Or we can help you to do the classification. If there's a certain similarity, we can help you to group together, where to let you know, would there be a possible issue that will happen from the system, right? So this is how we are doing the analytics for the log. The application performance monitoring, this is not just tell you how fast is your application, what is the response time. It's not only that, right? We are keeping track of all the historical data so that you can analyze the trend. You are also able to analyze each of the individual transaction. Okay? When we are talking about the application transaction, it's not just one single task. Most of the time, it's the series of the tasks running in a series or running in parallel. And this forms the entire application transaction. So sometimes when we encounter the performance issue, definitely we would like to do some troubleshooting. right? So the APM function serves this purpose very well. We are able to analyze the transaction into a very granular details to help you to find out the root cause easily so that you can fix the problem as fast as you can. And of course, the database management, this is also another very important area where allow you to do a lot of monitoring in your database activities. Okay, you can give you some of the suggestion, recommendation, how you can fine tune your database. Okay, you could be fine tune the parameter. This also could be to fine tune your SQL statement. Right, so this database management really giving you a lot of interesting, useful insight to improve your database performance. Okay, so we has been rolled out the OCI into the markets for several years, and we have a number of customers around the world. We also have a lot of customers in Philippines. Right? 7-Eleven and the city of Baguio is just two of the public reference, okay, that we can share with anyone easily because this is public. But at the same time, we do have a lot of other customers currently in Philippines across different industry, from banking, from the manufacturing, from the retail as well. Okay. So I also would like to share with you some of the market analysis, how they view the Oracle Cloud today. Right? So I think today you hear a lot of introduction from myself. Okay, I'll share with you all the capabilities, some of the success reference. So some other view from the analysis like the Gartner or IDC, they also giving a very positive feedback about Oracle Cloud. Like what Gartner mentioned here, when you evaluate the cloud service provider, definitely you should include Oracle as one of your viable options. Right? So this is not just about how the customer feedback Oracle Cloud capability. It's also based on the functionality today, our vision, our roadmap that we have been planned, and we have been adopting all this roadmap according to the plan. Okay. And then in the most recent, the Gartner IaaS scorecard, Oracle Cloud is one of the cloud service provider have the most or the biggest significant growth compared to last year, 2020. We have the fastest growing, we have the greatest improvement in all the scoring. Okay. So this is where the Gartner is putting this comment here. Another research from the IDC is also demonstrate that we are not just only getting the customer to deploy their workload on Oracle Cloud, but we also want to ensure that all the deployment is success. They are satisfied. We are really creating a very positive impact to our customer. So IDC is conducting a number of survey with our existing Oracle Cloud customer to review in terms of the satisfaction, how they satisfied on their Oracle Cloud deployment. And OCI is actually the vendor getting the highest customer satisfaction score. So together with different customer reference that we can continue to share with you more. And I just can share with you, all of you today is using the Oracle Cloud as well. Why? It's because of Zoom, right? Zoom has been moving their application, their web conference platform to Oracle Cloud since the pandemic is getting into our life. Because at the time, everyone cannot go to the office. We cannot meet the customer. We cannot meet our colleague, right? There's a huge demand increasing that we need to have a web conference. So Zoom at that point in time, 18 months ago, they're looking for a platform where they allow them to have a very easy to scale, to support a huge demand, but at the same time can also help them to minimize the cost, right? Because if you're aware what the charges from the other cloud service provider, live streaming or downloading the data is one of the key pricing components from other cloud service provider. But Oracle Cloud is giving all of our customers every month for the first 10 terabytes. Okay, we are talking about 10 terabytes. Okay. All this outbound data transfer is free, zero cost for you to download the data from Oracle Cloud to your on-premise every month, 10 terabytes. So this is the reason why Zoom is selecting Oracle Cloud for the web conference platform. And we also have a lot of different customer reference from different country, from different industry. Okay, so we may not have enough time to share more story today with you, but not to worry. Feel free to get in touch with the Oracle team. If you have interest, you want to know more about the Oracle Cloud capabilities, we definitely would like to share more and more with you. And just do a very quick summary about why the customer is choosing the Oracle Cloud. As I mentioned at the beginning, OCI, the design is for every single kind of the workload, be it as a critical enterprise application, cloud native, web scale application, all are fully supported. And we are also the first vendor to release the autonomous services to make your life easier, to manage your platform from the performance, deployment, scalability, and so on and so forth. We fully support the multi-cloud, hybrid cloud strategy. Security is also our first component that we would like to protect. Our design of the cloud is from the security first, starting from the data. And last but not least, is about the price performance. We can help you to justify your investment. Okay. So if you are interested to test it out of the Oracle Cloud today, Oracle also have this always free trial, meaning you can use some of the cloud services for free, for lifetime. Okay, there's no limitation, not about just 1 month or 2 months. Some services is always free. Or if you want to use any of other services, we also have another trial where you can have the free credit for 30 days. Just feel free, get in touch with us, or you can just simply go to the Oracle website to register or request for the free trial. Last but not least, Oracle is doing a very good promotion for the public. Okay? By the end of this month, if you are going to enroll some of the OCI training courses, or you will want to take the certificate, you can go to this website, or you can scan this QR code, and then you will be able to get the free registration. Okay, so what does this mean, free? You will be able to get the free learning lifetime. Okay, it's all these are the online learning lifetime, as long as you are registered before the end of the month. If you are interested to take the exam by end of this year, this will be free as well, as long as you take the exam by the end of this month. Okay, so this is another promotion that we are giving to our customer. So I think I have been sharing with you a number of information about the Oracle Cloud today. So if you have any question, just feel free to let us know. You can post a question on the chat room here, or you can get in touch with our Oracle team. So again, thanks for your time today to hear from sit into my session, and hope you're enjoying the content here.